5 money habits that will keep you poor. In today's video, we'll be highlighting 5 money habits that will essentially keep you poor if you don't change these right after this video. What's up guys? It's Trevor here. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we'll be covering 5 money habits that will keep you poor. Before the video starts, make sure you smash that like button. Massively helps out with the YouTube algorithm. And get 3 free stocks right now with Robinhood down the link in the description. Now let's jump right into this. Number 1 on the list is focusing too much on the present and not too much about the future. Now, obviously you need to enjoy your present. This is what you're living through. You want to have the best moment of your life. But also at the same time, you need to have a healthy balance of what your current situation is in the future, because you can't always be living in the current, because there's only so much things you can do as of right now, but you can help prep for the future at the same time what you're doing. So some easy ways to go about things is, I'll throw you an example. So you're 20 years old, you're a college student, and in college you're partying every single day with your friends, and you don't really worry. You have 2 more years, you don't have too much to think about, but at the same time you party every day, your finances are absolutely wrecked, and you just don't care, right? You care about what it feels like right now is to have fun and enjoy the 20s, but what you should do is actually think about what your future entails. If you work too much about the current, you're gonna have too much pressure on you on the current, and not too much. You're not gonna move yourself forward in the future. Partying every single day when you're 20s in college is not only gonna waste time and not gonna move you forward, but at the same time, it's not very helpful if you have goals or different ideas in your life of what you want to accomplish. Number 2 on the list is you're not aware of your spending habits. Now this happens a ton, especially with younger teenage students and people, especially in college. This is what this video is more about. But if you do have bad money habits when you're an adult, it's never too late. You should start right after this video. People that don't track their spending habits, they often spend more than they make. Simply putting out there, they wonder why they have no money after their paycheck. They get their paycheck every 2 weeks. They get it, and then they say they're broke. Like, now what happened with that money? That money, every single day at work, they're gonna be super miserable in working towards that day that they get their paycheck. Essentially putting it is, they're going to be unhappy and they're going to be broke at the same time, because they wonder why they have no money, because they literally impulse buy. They never track their spendings. They spend too much things that have absolutely no value to them. They impulse buy from Facebook ads, from Google ads. I mean, that is the technical point of running a business. I do e-commerce, and that's my job, is to sell to people like them. But at the same time, as from a personal finance standpoint, you shouldn't be spending so much money on useless gadgets, cool things, and just random things you find on either like Facebook, Google, or just through Instagram or whatever. It's just best to know what items that are actually gonna solve a problem for you, versus something that is just maybe cool, like a fidget spinner, depending on the current state. Now that entails us to number 3, which kind of goes back to number 2, which is you're spending too much money on stuff that you don't need. You're simply buying things that you don't need, and you're turning into someone called an impulse buyer. Impulse buyers is when they see something cool, like the newest iPhone, a TikTok ads showing those happy and unhappy, those toys. I'm not too sure what to call them, but they impulse buy anything because of a video ad or just an ad they see. Now, to avoid impulse buying, you need to set aside that money, lock it up, either put it in an envelope, put it away, and set aside money for savings and investing. Don't use that money set aside a certain budget you can actually spend per month, because you probably don't want to board yourself to spend absolutely nothing. So set aside a certain amount of money that you're allowed to spend per month, and in this overall, you just need to have a budget. Poor people don't have a budget, and they feel like they're going nowhere, and it's simply because their money is literally going into their bank and going out within the next week or so. They're buying too much, and they're not getting enough. So an easy way to do that is start tracking your money. Once you start tracking your money, you will see how much money is coming in, how much money is going out, and you can first pay yourself first, and then set aside money for these different expenses and different avenues of your life, like you're saving for a new house, a new car, or something else like that. You need to set aside money for each of these avenues. The fourth reason why you are still poor is simply because your goals, you do set goals, but the goals are simply just unrealistic. Now, obviously setting goals are going to be very important. That's how you level up in life. That's how you progress and learn new things and just move on in the steps of your life. Let's say you're 18 and you want to eventually get a high-paying job. Now, obviously there is a gap depending on the job. You might have to go to college, and that college, you're setting goals like you want to make $100,000 the first year. Well, maybe that job, that is like minimum pay, but maybe that is the high pay at the same time. So you need to set realistic goals that you can go ahead and accomplish and write off each month. So personally, in the last video, in my Millionaire Habits video, I shared that I used a whiteboard. Now, a whiteboard is very, very important. It's a good way, instead of writing on a piece of paper or putting it on your phone, writing it down, especially on a whiteboard where you can see it exactly when you wake up or when you pass across a room in your house. That is very ideal, because the more you see your goals, the more motivated you are. Sure, you can write it on a piece of paper, but you might lose the paper, or it gets scrapped away or lost. So writing it on a whiteboard and putting it right on the wall right when you wake up is ideal to get the maximum progression ultimately on your goals. The fifth money habit that keeps you poor is simply because you're trying to flex, right? All these habits or money habits that I talked about are actual habits that people do on a daily. People like to be rich, right? Everyone wants to be rich someday, but think of it this way: would you rather be rich or look rich? Now, maybe some of you guys will say, I'd rather look rich because you're flexing and you get, you feel better when other people compliment you. But would you rather be rich so you can actually afford the things that you claim to do if you were someone that was trying to pretend to be rich? So those ultimately were some money habits that keep majority of people poor. So if you go ahead and take all those 5 and just cut it out of your life, you're gonna see massive improvements in different avenues of your life. Like if you take out trying to be flashy, trying to flex all your Rolexes, your Gucci belts, your Gucci wallets, you're gonna see that you're actually gonna progress in life. You're gonna actually be able to afford those things because you're not trying to impress anyone. Because most millionaires, if you actually didn't know that, don't have a social media. They don't even have a fancy car or a big mansion. They just live an average life because there's no point. Why flex to everybody? So hope you guys found some value in this video. If you did, make sure you smash that like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.